On today's episode here in the Frosty Space Hut, we're hopefully going to spend some time working on vamping up our oxygen system using the aloe vera to get to the point where we can produce more oxygen than we can possibly use with the duplicants that we have. We're going to get started right away. So, between the last episode and this one, unfortunately, I had a recording that I worked on that my microphone just was a little bugged out, so it sounded really terrible. And the good news is that I keep backups of my files, so like I can roll back to a previous save. Bad news is like all the progress I made on that episode, I'll have to redo. But that's okay. You know, these things happen. I did do just a few cycles. I think we ended at cycle 12. We're at cycle 18 now. I closed off down here so that the carbon dioxide couldn't go down any farther. We had been finishing that up at the end of the last episode to do that. And I just did a few cycle testing just to make sure everything was running well. And basically the issue here is this is producing just enough oxygen to keep going, because what it's doing is our duplicants are producing the carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide, when it's processed, produces oxalate that's just enough to replace the oxygen that they breathe to create that amount of carbon dioxide. So we're sustaining this, but we don't want a sustainable amount of oxygen. Not at this point. What we want is a lot of oxygen, because we're going to be going from here and expanding out at first to this entire biome, and then also to the rest of the map. And hopefully by the time we're breaking out of here too far, we'll have a more renewable form of oxygen using electrolyzers and things like that. But for now, if we start digging out big areas and the oxygen needs to fill that area, it's not going to be enough to keep it up to pressure, and the duplicant's going to be struggling to find where the oxygen is. We'll have enough, but it'll be so spread out that it just won't do what we need. So, thinking in that line, we also need a better way to provide power, because we want to go into ranching for our floxes and things like that, and we want to be able to automate them. And so we don't want to be running off of manual generators for long, especially because we're not doing the achievements in this run, so we can use any type of power we want right at the start. What we're going to do is we're going to tap into ethanol to do it. We have some to start, and we can also produce more because we have the flox. So once we get them ranched, they'll produce wood that we can burn in an ethanol distiller to create ethanol, and then burn that in a petroleum generator. Petroleum generator will give us heat, which we can use. It'll give us polluted water, which we can use, and it'll give us carbon dioxide, which we can also use. Now we have to manage the heat of that, because our aloe veras need to stay below 0 degrees. So if we take hot carbon dioxide and dump it in there, it's not going to make any oxygen for us, because they're going to completely get over temp and they won't produce anything. Let's check out this printing pod before we move any farther. I'm only taking on duplicants that are pretty decent, because I don't have a need for a large amount of them. I do like this one. Small bladder really bothers me though, because it's a cumulative thing that just wastes a lot of time throughout every cycle. So I think I'm going to skip it. We'll take the briar seed. We'll wait for another one. We're not in a big hurry to increase our duplicant size, because we have sustainable food for a while, until we run out of phosphorite to grow the pike apples, and we have sustainable oxygen, because right now all the carbon dioxide they produce gets turned back into oxygen pretty quickly. So no rush to get to a big map, but we do need to get some research done before we can really do much. First of all, if we're going to be doing power, we're going to need power systems. So let's go all the way up here to petroleum generator. We'll get that researched, and then after that we'll also get our smart battery, and we'll get up to here where we have some of the power cables we're going to need to set up a little bit of a power grid. So I made some big changes to our setup here. We needed to have a couple of things changed around. So one is that we're having some issues with our aloe vera. So when we were having the oxalate off gas right here in this area, it was at best pushing the carbon dioxide out of the way. At worst, it would sometimes delete stuff, because gases, when there's two of them mixing, especially when off gassing, sometimes you have some weird things happen. So I moved the plants down, put them in planter boxes, made them blue because, you know, oxygen, blue, sounds good. And then I put a ladder row across the top of them. That way our dupes can get down there to reach for them, and they can do what they need to do with them, but they don't ever have to stand in the ethanol that I put here. I also brought ethanol up and flooded it just a little bit. That way when the oxalate falls off, it lands in this pool, and it doesn't off-gas at all. That way we have we don't have oxalate down here. We have oxalate up where we need it. I also closed off this area here with a ethanol liquid lock. That way our duplicants won't be losing carbon dioxide down here, spilling into this area, and it can all be converted into oxalate. So that's good to get started. This, I am moving my mess hall down because I want it to be a great hall, and I thought the best way to do that, since I need more space, is to combine it with the food storage. And because all we need is that sterile atmosphere because of how cold it is in here, this will work for now. So we have extra food down here. It's all sealed in with actual granite tiles now that I can get them, so that I don't have to worry about it melting like these snow tiles. And this will serve us for a good while. I need to get some decorations in here, which means I need to unlock some decorations. But that'll do. And the floor here is made out of airflow tiles so that the carbon dioxide can continue to settle. I mean, it's full in there. It's not going to go anywhere. But I just thought it worked. And that way, duplicants can come down, they can grab food. If they off-gas, it doesn't matter, because there's already carbon dioxide in here. It's what I want in here. So all the carbon dioxide will work its way down into here. The next step I want to do with this is, I have a lot of oxalate implanted across here. I'm going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, and then I'm going to put a storage bin full of ice in the middle, and then I'll do another 8 across and make it 16 total. That way I can put a sweeper that will pull the ice out and deliver it, and then all I have to do is put ice. Matter of fact, I could probably do it with, if I unlock it, I could do... Where is our solid transport? If I get the conveyor receptacle, I could just have ice in that and not even have to have this storage container. Though I could do it with a conveyor chute and automation, because this I need to get into radiation. Anyway, that's getting the cart before the horse. We'll get there, and we'll automate this a little more. For now, the duplicants can handle it. I have a storage bin here that I just set to sweep only with everything so that they can clean this whole area up slowly, and they're just bringing it all here, and I'll drop it on the floor. Eventually, I want to make that a little nicer, but down here I'm just digging out an area because I want to build our power system using this ethanol, and I also will need to build a system that converts wood into ethanol to power our power system when we run low on ethanol. But to do that, we need to get into these flox and get them handled. So a lot of things to do. We have skills for duplicants where we have one critter rancher working on another one. We'll probably bring in one more once we have it. I've also been working on the research slowly for what I need here. We finished up the power research. Next, I think I'm going to come down here all the way to the bottom and crack into automation research, because I know I'm going to need that. Actually, before we do that, let's go to here. That way we can get some paintings and get that taken care of. We will have to get a mammoth somewhere where we can shear them to get reed fiber for a painting, but we can do that. It's certainly not a problem. I think the next thing we're going to focus on is, after we get this finished to be a great hall so that we have a little more morale. Because right now it's a mess hall. I'm going to get rid of this one a while. I'm going to work on getting some stables set up here. I want to get the flox into some stables. I want to also get some mammoth into stables. That way I can get things rolling with our critters and get us off of the pike apple food, get us onto barbecue, and also get some wood production going, as well as some phosphorite production from the mammoths, some dirt production from the flox. Lots of things we can get from these guys. that we can probably set up in a nice little sustainable cycle to keep things going for a nice long time. So we'll keep working, we'll keep plugging away at this, and we'll get things set up, but right now we're still at the stage where we just need to keep doing research. So it's kind of just, you know, doing tasks while the research is getting done so that we can keep getting the XP done, so we can keep unlocking skill points, so we can proceed further. Pretty slow, you know, standard run-of-the-mill stuff at the moment. I've been working on laying out different spaces for what we're going to be building. Up here I'm going to be doing stables, but mostly I've been working down here to expand out this aloe vera area. I had a lot of carbon dioxide building up, and I think that's because we weren't having anything deleted, so we were having more carbon dioxide than we could handle. And I got it back under control. I think this is much more than I need. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where these guys are getting starved out because they're not going to get enough carbon dioxide. However, we're going to start producing more as well. So we'll probably have to keep adjusting it and changing up how we do these. And I would like to build a system that uses these outside of here, because I need to control the temperature of it. But for now, this is keeping the carbon under control. Lots and lots of carbon dioxide being turned into oxalate. We're actually starting to build up a surplus of oxalate, which is good. And down here, I had put in a pump so that we could pull in the carbon dioxide down here that gets built up. So if I have extra carbon dioxide building up down here, I just connect the wire. We pump the gas until carbon dioxide is all gone. That gets dropped off in here. So we have a little more carbon dioxide to turn into oxalate, which is good. The focus up here is to build these out so that I can get stables put in for our flox. I'm just building them all out of granite for now. I've been trying to get rid of all the snow. Still have this section here to handle because temperatures are getting to like close to being into the point where we need to worry about that. Not really, but it is high enough that we're having some issues with our pike apple bushes. So that's why I want to work on getting this these stables started sooner rather than later, because once we have the stables in place, not only will we get all the resources from the critters that we're getting set up, but we will also get meat from them. And that means that we can switch over to that, which is a little more temperature, or a little less temperature sensitive, which means that in this cold environment, we don't need to worry about, as the temperature's rising, not being able to do it. These flox, for example, have a body temperature range that goes from -60 to 100. Ideal temperature is -30 to 10, but we can run them even if we get the temperatures up. We'll probably still keep the temperatures cold because it's just the way this map works, but having the ability to have some extra flexibility there, helpful, and it's a better food source in general. I also have been laying out the different areas. Like this section here is just where I want to put a bathroom in when I'm able to do it. But right now it's still too cold for me to run the water into the pipes, even if I could get enough of it, because the pipes would end up freezing because of the water in it. I do have the ability to do insulated pipes, or at least I can unlock that, and that could probably make it work. So I think I'll work on that next. I'm going to put a door there, and we'll put in water sieve once we get that researched. So the research we're currently working on is in this area. Still need to get to here to get the water sieve, and insulated pipes are down here. So if we get those researches done, we can set this up. This will be, we'll set up a filter. It'll be renewable, so the liquid will go through, and then we can take the extra polluted water and dump it somewhere, which means we might be able to use it to generate a little tiny bit of heat somewhere. I mean, it's not going to be much, but it'll be hotter than the cold area here. But at the very least, we'll be able to convert it into water and eventually have some liquid water somewhere here on this map. We still do not have anything liquid other than ethanol anywhere. So this is running really well. We're getting tons of oxalate. It's keeping everything stocked, which means people can breathe really good. I do have one out here just in case I'm doing anything extended out here. I just turn that on so we can get some oxygen out here just for them to breathe. But after we dug this all out, there's not really that much else for us to do. So I'm going to let this continue to go. We're going to build out this whole area. and then we're going to put in our stables so that we can start getting animals tamed and everything else. The other thing is that we have Stinky is very close to the end of this XP point, which means he'll be able to get mechatronics, which means we'll be able to set up automation as soon as we build the stables, which was the goal. Normally it's a race to try to get that set up because we need to handle the eggs in the stables. But that's because we're trying to get to carnivore, and we're not worried about this playthrough, so we'll be able to build the stables and the automation for the stables all at the same time and skip over the step where we manually handle eggs in these stables, which is really, really nice because sometimes that is a real hassle. Let's see what we'll just take the briar seed. I don't really shine it. And like I said, we'll let this continue to go while we finish up the building, and then we'll start getting these critters under control. So we're working on a couple of things now that we have things settled up with our oxygen. The one thing that we need to do is I want to get plum toilets in. I'm a little concerned about the temperature for the water running through it, but I think because the polluted water coming out will be warm enough, it will go through the sieve and it won't break any pipes. And then if I have it in insulated pipes, it should be okay until it gets used, and then the loop will go. And then any excess polluted water will dump off somewhere and start storing it. For now, I don't have anything that I need to use the polluted water for to consume it. Though I might look at some plants just to burn off the excess because I don't really need it sitting around. But you know, making a tank of it or freezing it, which is probably what will happen at first, is fine. Then that way we could also go through. There's some polluted water that's frozen around the base. We could all collect it together. We're going to work on that in a minute. We're finishing up the research for the insulated pipes, which is vital. If I try to run the water through non-insulated pipes, we're just going to have freezing issues, broken pipes, and water everywhere. While we're waiting on that, we want to work up here to figure out our stables, which are almost done getting built. So we need to have a station to make it a stable. We need to have a shearing station so that we can shear the wood. So that should be here. And then as far as food goes, the flox that are going to be in here are going to be eating out of farm tiles that we grow. So we're going to do, let's put our critter drop off here next. And then I'm going to do 6 farm tiles for each of these farms. I think 5 is all I need as far as enough growth to support our flox in each of the stables. But I like to go a little extra. And then I'm going to do a door with a block over it for the flox, because that way I can keep them kind of cramped up together so I don't have to worry about them wandering around, and I can keep my auto sweeper to a minimum. For the auto sweepers, I'm going to put in one up here and then one at the front. I actually need more refined metal to do it. It's okay, we'll get to that. The food in here is going to be pike apple bushes, so we're going to plant those. We'll copy that across. We're going to set this to flox and flox fawns. We're going to do a maximum of 8 critters. And let's set this to high because we're going to have 3 of them, so I'll have 8, 7, 6. That way they get spread out separately. We'll also need power for that shearing station, as well as for our automation, which we can bring up this way. We're going to have to put in a proper power grid soon, but for now, it's going to be occasional power. I think we should get away with this. Once we have the wood coming in from our flox, we can use that to make some more ethanol. And we can, like I said, tap into this ethanol down here to get us started. So let's copy this across. One thing that's important here is we want these crops, we do not want to harvest them, because we want to let them continue growing because the flox are going to eat. So once this is built, we still have to finish up the tiles across the top. I think other than the sweeper and the conveyor loader that we're going to need for it, that should be everything we need to get this stable set up. So it's just a matter of finishing it and getting 3 more of those set up, and then we'll worry about the Mammoth one after that. So I'm going to let them finish building that while we're finishing. Research is finished, so let's come down here and we'll work out our bathroom situation. So insulated pipes. So we're going to have waters coming out of the green side of this. So we can come down here and water will go in and it will fill up our bathroom. As far as the polluted water coming out, we want to have all of these come through to here. And then I want to have a liquid bridge. Let's do the bridge like this. And then we'll come down like this into it. We'll go here. That way we can have an overflow pipe. And we'll have it go this way with a bridge that goes off to here. For right now, I'm just going to go like this. And we'll put a vent. And we'll dig out a couple of spaces so that we can test everything. That should mean that if we get water in here to start, the polluted water will go in, it'll clean until this pipe is full, and then the excess polluted water will get drained over here on the side. Well, like I said, we'll have to come up with a permanent solution on how to handle the polluted water, whether that's just dropping it off to drain it, or using it in a farm tile situation. That remains to be seen. But in order to get water in, I need to do a bottle drainer so that we can take some water from the ice liquefier, drain it into the system, and put it on. So let's do the piping for that a while. We can put pipe here. If I put it there, it's probably going to cause me some issues. Sometimes when you put it in between the two white connections, you get some funkiness going on. So I'm going to put it down here, even though it's a longer path to go. And then we'll just run a insulated pipe from here. We'll just do it right down here. We can put the bottle filler down here because they can run the water over and put it on. So that means we'll get water started. It'll run in, it'll fill the pipe up. Then this bathroom can be active. It'll produce the polluted water and it'll start filling the line up. And when it's done, we can remove the bottle drainer here and let the system be a finished loop. So we just need to get some more refined metal going for both of those. Let's set this to a higher priority so somebody goes down and takes care of that. And we'll let them finish construction here. Once we have the refined metal, I'll get those last couple things put in and we'll give it a test and see how things go. I want to also make this prior. They're taking a long time to build that last bit of that. Alright, so we got a couple more things done. I got water in our pipes here, so our bathroom is actually up and online. And it is, in fact, a washroom, which will help with some morale. My plan is to convert this one after this one is up and running, and I know that this is going to keep the loop going. I'll convert this one to one as well, and then we'll have 4 total bathrooms running, which means we won't have any more issues with people having to wait to use it. But what we need to see is when people use this, polluted water comes out, and it's at 25C. It goes through. Oh, I did that backwards. Like, yeah, that should. Oh, it's because this doesn't have any sand in it, so it can't use that water. The polluted water got passed right back out of the system. That's unfortunate. It should take a priority over the bridge, go into here, and get processed, but we didn't get any sand delivered here, and so that means that it did not give us what we needed. It wouldn't let any more water pass through. So now that it can process that polluted water, we have water coming out, and it's coming out at about 20 degrees. So even sitting in the pipe, I don't think it's going to lose enough that it'll cause any issues. And since we're going to have water positivity here from the bathrooms, we should fill this pipe pretty quickly, and then we'll have the excess dropping over here, currently turning into ice, which is fine. It's exactly what we want it to do. I'm going to put this here, put sand in it, so that we have sand here. Spelling sand correctly would help. And there we go. And then this will work. So then next we can convert this. Up here, I have finished the first 3 of the farms. Well, I still have yet to finish this building up here, but I moved in flox from all over the map. So we have 8 in here. We already have 3 in here, What I need to do next is finish this automation so we can pull the eggs out of here so that they can continue to breed, so we can fill in the population, which means getting in a nursery to handle our flox. We have finished a few projects, so we have 2 plumbed bathrooms now, which means that we can handle more duplicants because we have 4 active lavatories. They both have washroom bonuses, which is what we want. I am having a little bit of issue where the water, when it sits here too long, it freezes and cracks this pipe a little bit. Not quite sure how to handle that. I think if I have more water flowing, it won't sit as long, and it might solve my problem, so I'm not too worried about it for now. I just have it set with a high priority for that repair, so that when it does break, somebody fixes it pretty quickly, and it keeps things running. I don't want that to be a long-term thing, because then we'll end up burning through a little bit of igneous rock, and over many, many cycles, that would cause a big problem. But for now, Band-Aid is okay. So this is working. We have plenty of throughput for bathroom. Got to clean them up a little bit. Mess everywhere. But that's the same of Coal Bay. Up here, I have finished all but the last auto sweeper is in place. The conveyor loaders are in. Currently cleaning everything out of here, so it's just it's picking up everything across the floor. But then these will be set to high priority on critter eggs. And that is to make sure that we don't have any flox eggs that are in here causing these guys to not want to reproduce. It's working pretty well because we have a bunch of flox eggs sitting over here. If we look, we have 7 that are not in incubators. So we have a total of 9 eggs that are incubating at the moment. This setup, if you've watched my playthroughs at all before, you probably have seen this or a similar setup. But basically, we have the incubators here. The eggs get dropped off into this room. The critter sensor says if the count in here goes above 0 critters, not counting eggs, close this door. So if one of these eggs hatches and I don't have anywhere to go with it because these are full, then this door closes and that critter that's in here is trapped inside of a room that gets filled with ethanol, and then the door stays closed until they are no longer in that room. Then the door opens and I have meat. So this is an automatic system. We can just have our critters dropped off in here. They get put into the incubators. When these hatch, somebody will come along and it will take it either here, 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 or here. And the priorities on those are set so that this is 8. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 7, 6, and 5. And then this is 1. So worst case scenario, if these 24 slots are full, it gets dropped off right here. And then it'll just run back and forth until it becomes an adult, which means it can jump up here and then eventually down into here. And it will take care of itself. I don't have to do anything to handle that. Oh, we got a bonbon tree seed. I don't we'll have any use for that at the moment, but I'll take it. In our rooms up here, I have added a 3rd one. The idea is now I can expand up to 12 duplicants. That I think we can handle that once we get this up and running and we have barbecue coming in. We still have some temperature issues, so our food down here is slowing, but we have enough that we'll be fine. I do want to set to make sure I don't want meat to be used, and I want to turn the meat into barbecue. So any meat that comes through, we'll make barbecue for it, and that will provide us with more calories, because we're going to have meat coming in as these guys are born and fill up the nursery. We still have to finish a mammoth one so that we can get renewable source for phosphorite, as well as they give a large amount of food. So we're going to do just 1 nursery for them. We can fit 4 mammoths in a full-size stable, and that means we can handle them. We got to get the food for them and all that stuff worked out. So we'll get to that probably in the next episode. But for now, we're going to just let these guys run. And finally, down here at the bottom, I disabled harvest on all of these oxalate producers, the aloe veras. Reason is that saves duplicant labor. I specifically built way more than we need so that while these sit until their crop drops off, we have other ones that are picking up the slack and doing the work. So we can keep up with these duplicants plus the other 4 that we're going to be bringing in fairly easily. That means that we can wait for the oxalate to fall off. It drops down into the ethanol where it waits until we need it, and then it starts processing again. We really would just need this 1 farm to handle it. So now we have we've tripled that, which means that we shouldn't have any issues where carbon dioxide is building up while we wait for the oxalate to fall off, but we'll see. The some of these have already dropped off, but we just need to know if they drop off fast enough to keep up with it or not. One last thing I need to do is put in auto sweepers that can handle the 2 ranges up here to get that ice automatically delivered. That way our duplicants don't need to do anything for these farms other than grab oxalate and deliver ice to the storage bin. The system will handle all of our problems in here. I have oxalate being put out here as well to get this place up to pressure. So we're burning through a little bit of oxalate, but we're still keeping up with it, which is good. Even without an extra carbon dioxide producer, because we're not deleting any, or very little if we are, this system is working to keep up with our duplicants, turning their breath that they exhale the CO2 back into oxygen. We're maintaining, which is what we want for now. So this system will start producing wood for us. We can start stockpiling wood again, because right now wood, we only have 9 tons of it left, and that's not a huge amount. The other thing with this room is I'll be able to put in auto sweepers in here. I think I need to do, in order to be able to reach the whole room. Oh, used up the refined metal. I need to wait to get a little bit more. But we'll have to put in 2 auto sweepers so that we can reach to the whole floor, and that way we can pull the eggs out, automatically put them in the incubators, and then we'll set up a thing to pull out stuff that gets delivered here and deliver it where it needs to go. Because this is going to pull out the wood automatically from anywhere in these rooms, as well as any food that does drop if these sit long enough that we have the food fall off. It'll all get delivered here, then I can just ship it out directly. Get duplicants doing less and less work on menial tasks so they can work on the big important tasks. Next thing we need to focus on is we have a lot of power that we're using now. Not a ton, because this automation only uses power when it's being operated, but I would like to be able to power these incubators, which means it's time to start getting into an active power source other than this manual generator. Right now that's enough to keep up with our cooking needs and the occasional research that we do and the automation, but if I add anything more onto this grid, we're not going to have enough power to go. So that's where this area down here comes in. We're going to set up a system where we can burn off ethanol, turn it into polluted water and power, which actually might be a solution for up here. I could run hot polluted water in and mix it with the cold to prevent this from running. But then the CO2 that comes out from our petroleum generators, we will set up to be cooled and put into another aloe vera farm. I don't think I'm going to put it up into here, because I want to make sure this is stable enough to handle any oxygen inside the base. We'll build a new system, and we'll automate it as much as possible so that very little dupe interaction has to go on in there. But basically, it'll process that carbon dioxide coming off the power plants and give us even more oxalate so we can expand more. Anyway, today was a good production day. We got the base expanded out. We got into doing critters. The flox are now going to be providing us with wood. We're pretty excited about that. And we have a pretty solid plan for what we're going to do going forward. I hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.